May primary election 13 days away from today, but some have already voted thanks to the option of early voting, which is offered in 30 counties across Idaho. And that began this week. There's also absentee ballots. Those are already being turned in. Owyhee County is one of those counties with both options. However, one of the options voters are deciding in the Gem State's second largest county by land contained a minor mistake, conflicting information on a levy, which includes hundreds of thousands of dollars, a difference apart. The Owyhee County Clerk's Office was on that mistake rather quickly, but it does beg the question, what happens if the ballot language is incorrect? Joe Paris has the answer.
It would take an intricate eye to spot, but in this wall of text and numbers lies a little mistake. $300,000 difference in the ask for a school levy in Owyhee County. This is a sample ballot for voters in the district. Like so many other schools around Idaho, the Bruno-Grandview Joint School District is asking voters there to approve a supplemental levy. But what is the ask for? The text of the ballot has the math for a $350,000 levy, but the text of the question is asking voters for $650,000. So which one is it? We reached out to the school district to clarify our election guide, and we found that the question is for $650,000, clearly detailed in this official ballot question from the school district. So what happened here? I connected with Angela Barkle, the clerk in Owyhee County, and they explained to me that they were already on the case. In April, the mistake was found, and quickly they had ballots reprinted without any interruption in the process. Barkle writes to me, quote, "We had to mail out 9 new absentee ballots after spoiling the incorrect ones. We just neglected to correct the sample ballot on our webpage. Thanks for pointing it out."
Really trying to determine, will that impact the election? And then we have remedies on what we can do after the fact to try and correct an issue that comes up.
Idaho Secretary of State Phil McGrain says the Owyhee County question seems to be solved. But if it wasn't, Idaho actually has a pretty new law dealing with election mistakes. It involves judicial review.
We worked through a new process with the legislature to allow for judicial review. So the county clerk or the Secretary of State's office, if there's ever an issue like this in an election and we have a close election where it may impact the outcome, we can actually go to a judge to have them review the election, see what happened, make any corrections if needed, and the judge has the authority to issue a new election.
In fact, the United States Congress took note of how Idaho's judicial review law played out in Jerome County just last fall.
The House Administration Committee has a lot of interest in elections right now, and so they had gotten wind of this issue playing out in Jerome County, and the letter really just highlighted and said, hey, Idaho, great job. This is a model the rest of the country should be looking at in terms of being able to spot a problem, elevate the problem, and get it resolved in a way that everyone can feel satisfied. I think what makes it unique about what we have here is it didn't require one of the candidates in that race to contest the election. That path has been there for a long time, but that means a candidate has to hire a lawyer and do some other steps. Now we've taken it where, as election officials, we can actually elevate these issues to make sure we get the results correct as well.
It is always possible a slim margin could call attention to the Owyhee County levy vote. It is not likely, but McGrain says transparency is king in the conversation.
I think everything looks like it's been resolved. I think the clerk was very quick to react and resolve the problem. So it looks like it's going to be a smooth election in this case, but it's really important. We are making note of it, and if for some reason that this question is razor thin, everybody involved will be looking closely at this and whether we do need to go out for judicial review. Elections
are human run, and we have inherent human error. McGrain believes transparency and solid laws are conducive to creating community trust.
Mistakes are going to happen. We try really hard to put in control so that they won't. Every now and then it's human beings in the process and we work to resolve them, and so it's good for us to have processes built in where we are transparent and that no one is trying to say like this is completely flawless, because it just doesn't make sense for that to be the case. But we want to be open and transparent with the public to really build confidence in Idaho's elections.
So less than 2 weeks away from the May primary, and I mentioned the election guide. You can find information on all the May primary ballot questions in our voter guide. It is now available at ktvb.com. Even easier, you can text the word VOTE, V-O-T-E, to the text line, 208-321-5614. If you send that, you will get a link instantaneously right to your phone. We also have a guide in Spanish, so you can check that out as well. And make sure to tell your friends and family, because, Brian, on Election Day, when you show up in the booth and you go to do your voting, it makes it a lot easier if you know what's on there before you get there.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, Joe.
You got it.